podcast. I am Mark Cotton.
And I am Brianna Janelle.
And today we have a really special guest with us.
Yes, today's guest is a Grammy Award winner and visionary, really. He's been in the music industry for over 20 years. He is the author of the 10 Artist Commandments. He is the founder and CEO of the 1% and NPR Global. He's been instrumental in launching the careers of the likes of Money Long, K Camp, Lil Durk, just to name a few.
Yeah. Ride Wave.
Right. Husband, father. If you don't know who I'm talking about yet, allow me to introduce to some and present to others JR Mckee.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Welcome
ma'am.
to the
But
show.
now Harry.
Yes.
Harry Mckee Jr. is probably the proper title now that I've
I'm about to say,
retired.
recently retired.
Yes. Now that I've retired. And that's why the best title was the last one, that husband and father.
Yeah.
That was the best title for me.
I love
Man,
that.
Yeah.
love that, man.
And we're not gonna pull a Tom Brady where we're going
No,
back and
no. It's so crazy. Somebody had DM'd me like he'll be back. I was, no, I won't. I
Really
won't.
not.
Yeah.
So
Closing that
like
chapter.
you retired just because you're done with it completely, like you just don't want to
Yeah.
go back.
I retired, yes, because I'm done with it completely. That part is for sure. It's many of different reasons, but I think the key one is just faith. Jesus,
Yes, sir.
being in my life now, sort of that being my identity. That was the key, and I think that really gave me the strength to do it because my identity wasn't in music. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people, that's what they get caught up in, is like people know me as this. You know what I mean? But I literally was like free from that. I didn't have that question at all in my head. Like, what are
Right.
people gonna think and would they know me? I literally was free from that once my identity became in Christ.
Yeah.
And so I never had those thoughts. It was like, oh yeah, we out of here. You know what I mean? So
that's
I felt good about it.
That's good though. I'm about to say, so with you and I know we're jumping around, I'm about to say, but with you having that feeling, like how was it working in that industry as when you did find Christ and everything?
Yeah.
Like, how was that?
Well, first of all, I grew up in the church, so
Okay.
I don't want to make it like I didn't know,
Who
about
Jesus
God.
was,
Jesus
right.
was. I grew up in the church. My mother would be very upset if I did.
make it seem like you ain't know Jesus.
But it wasn't that. It really wasn't until like I want to say 2023. We in 24. 2023 was like when it really got real for me.
Okay.
I went to Bishop Jake's International Leadership Summit with my wife. And the crazy part about that, it was actually a Valentine's Day gift for her.
No
Like she had
way.
been saying she wanted to go, and so for Valentine's Day I surprised her with those tickets.
Okay.
To go to ILS. But that's when it really got serious for me. Like just that was a life-changing experience at ILS. And so it really got serious for me then, 2023. And from there, I just began like really seeking hard. And through that process of seeking, joining Hunger Church and following Dr. Hart, praying, beginning to read my Bible every day, that's when I feel like that change happened to where I no longer felt tied to the business. You know what I mean? Like once that tie sort of was severed, and I don't know the moment that it happened. I just know like I woke up one day and it didn't mean anything to me to
Right.
be there.
That's
You know what I mean? And so once that feeling was gone, it was just a matter of how do we retire? When do we retire? Because I have artists signed to me. I have responsibilities.
Yeah.
And so I tried for a little while to sort of continue those responsibilities. But then after a while, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna leave them in God's hand because I always want to finish what I started and do right by people.
Right.
But God kind of started to show me like, no,
I got them.
I got them.
Yeah.
Like you don't gotta worry about them. So I let them go. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, you know what? That's in God's hands. I'm gonna let them go,
Wow.
and I'm gone. And so that was the that's how we got to retirement.
Interesting.
I love that for you, man. I'm about to say, I know that like that can always just like be hard, and I think that there's a lot of people out here who are Christian that work in secular businesses,
Yeah.
secular industries, and they often like probably struggle with that same thing of trying to figure out how to balance the two.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, you got to make a living. I'm about to say,
Yeah,
so,
no, for sure. I mean, that part of it.
Do you feel like you could have did both? Like if you
No.
would have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Had that come to Jesus moment earlier in career, do you think you would have been able to navigate those spaces the same?
No, so So the financial part of it, not to say that it was completely easy, because it's not been easy since I stopped, because I also had a consulting business.
Okay.
And so the consulting business was really my cash. I don't even call it cash flow. It's my cash overflow, because I'm fortunate because I own catalog, and so I have cash flow that pays all the bills.
Yeah.
But we have a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My wife would
Yeah.
say we have a lifestyle, and so the cash flow from the consulting business was heavy, and it just doesn't exist anymore. Like, I cut off all those clients, and so that loss of cash flow has lost the lifestyle.
Right, it changed the
what I
lifestyle
mean?
completely.
Yeah, I lost the lifestyle. So now we just like, our bills are paid, and until something else, till we figure out something else, that's all we can count on.
Yeah.
We just count on the bills being paid. But my journey through the music business and just life in general has helped me for this moment, because I've had plenty of times of being up and down. Like, I had years I made a ton of money, millions. I had years I didn't make no money. And so being in this position where I'm not making no money, I've been here before.
Wow.
And I know it ends. You know what I mean? I know with my hustle, my mind, and now with God's wisdom,
Yeah.
bro, we know we're going to get to it.
That's a fact.
So I just say, wife, chill out, relax. I know, I know it's cool. Like, and she stressed a little bit about it, but it's because she ain't been here before.
Right.
I done been here before. I done been broke
You done
before.
got out of the mud before.
Yeah, so it's like, no, it's cool. We gonna be good.
gonna
Like,
bounce
just
back.
give me 12 months. Just relax for 12 months. 12 months, you gonna be balling harder. And that's the thing about it. Like,
Yeah.
every single time I went broke, I always came back stronger.
Wow.
Always. So it's always
you have
been
more wisdom now.
Yeah, it's always been exactly.
Yeah.
I'm smarter now.
Yeah.
I learned more things now. I understand more things now. And so for me, it's like, I know this next time is gonna be bigger than the last time, because I know more things. I know more people. I have a better network.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I understand ownership a little bit better. And so for me, it's just like, this is cool for right now. We'll be good. Bills are paid. We're going to figure it out. And when we figure it out, it's going to be.
It's gonna go
It's
up.
gonna
Yeah,
be on the
it's gonna
popping.
be-
I'm about to say,
Yeah.
and with that, I think a lot of people have that feeling of like, I don't have anything right now,
Yeah.
and I gotta make something happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a tough spot to navigate. I mean, like, shoot, I've been in that space where, like, like, we don't. It's not what it was.
Yeah.
So how do you tell somebody? How would you tell somebody how to trust God in that?
Well, it's more so that I'm not afraid to lose anything. Like, even if it comes to the point where we lose this house that we built, don't mean nothing to me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? 'Cause I've been here before. I had a crazy condo that we shot music videos and stuff like that, and then we ended up living in an apartment with roaches. Like, that literally happened to me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And then we got a house. This is the K Camp era. So I had this huge condo for it's legendary in Atlanta. The people who know me, they know
about the
They
condo.
know about it.
Y'all
You
know
what
where
I
I've
mean?
been.
Yeah, they know about it. And then because I was putting so much money in the K Camp, I didn't have no more money. We had to move out, because I'm like, either I'm going to keep this place or I'm going to keep investing in him.
Yeah.
And so we had to move out. And now the roaches thing, that wasn't supposed to happen.
we didn't plan for the
So
roaches.
we moved into an apartment, and I think when we were moving, I feel like the mover trucks had roaches on it.
Oh,
And-
God.
and
There it is.
And they brought the roaches into the apartment, but it took us some time to get rid of them. You know what I mean? But we moved into that apartment, then we ended up moving in a house together where all of us lived together with Camp. And then from that house, we were in that house for about a year, and Money Baby took off, and the next thing you know, we living in mansions. So I went from a condo to apartment roaches to mansions. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's like, I don't care. If we lose this house, bro, the next house gonna be 3 times the size.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I don't have a fear of going backwards, because I've been backwards, and I know it's always, you take 2 steps backwards to take 10 forward.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't worry about things like that. I know no matter what, I'm gonna be happy. My happiness isn't in this house. It's not in
isn't
this
in
car.
money.
You know what I
Right.
mean? It's not in the money, because we're gonna get it back. You know what I mean? So I don't have a fear, or I don't worry about things like that. But I think for other people, you just got to understand that gratitude is everything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm teaching my daughters how to pray right now, and the only thing I make them do is just say what you're thankful for.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the
Yeah.
only thing they pray. Like, okay, baby, tell God what you're thankful for. And it's always mommy, daddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mommy, I'm thankful. My little one, she's like, I'm thankful for the dinner mommy made me tonight.
Come
that's,
on.
that's all they do in their prayers.
grateful heart.
Yeah.
Right.
And so gratitude is everything. So even if I lived in that apartment again, you know what I mean? I'm thankful for this roof over our head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm thankful that my kids not sleeping outside.
Yeah.
So no matter where we at, as long as you have gratitude, we're gonna be happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so for me, it's like I don't have to worry about that, and nobody else should have to worry about that, because there are things you're going to be grateful for.
Facts.
If you can get up and walk, you should be grateful because people who can't get up and work.
Come on.
You know what I mean? If you eating ramen noodles, it's people that will hurt you for them ramen noodles.
That's a fact.
You know what I
That's
mean?
a
So
fact.
it's
I
like,
have to pass the plate up in
yeah,
here.
so it's like no matter what position you're in, there are people that are worse off. So you do have something to be thankful and grateful for.
Right.
So as long as you got that attitude of gratitude, that's where happiness lies.
I think that's beautiful because a lot of times people idolize money or idolize success, where it's hard to let go,
Yeah.
where that does become your God because you see that as your source.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I
Yeah.
don't do this, then what am I going to do? What's going
Right.
to happen? Not really trusting that God got you.
Yeah, that was
that
one
next.
of my fears, like, because you read the Bible and they're always worshiping these idols, Baal and
Right.
stuff like that, and I'm like, well,
Right.
God, I know I ain't worshiping no idols. So what is the idol in my life?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I understand that the Bible times transfer to these times, so like
For sure.
it may not be Baal, but you worshiping something.
You worshiping something, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so my fear was like, is it money, God? Like, what is it? And what helped break me from that was tithing. Tithing and offering. Like once I like gave freely,
Yeah.
it kind of took the power away from money. You know what
Wow.
I mean? And so tithing and giving that offering, it really, like, once I was doing that consistently, it took the power away. Like money didn't really have a hold on me no more
Yeah.
because of that. And so I'm grateful for that too. And I saw a flow. Like once I started giving, it's like the money
It
started
was-
coming and coming.
yeah.
And then if I stopped giving for a while, it tightened up. Like, dang, why ain't no money coming in?
Right.
And so that flow was really helpful. Like once I started that flow, and once I like the hold was broke on me for money.
Yeah.
Because I was worried what my idols were, and I knew money had to be one of them. Because like that's always been something that I hustle
Your
for.
focus, yeah.
Yeah, and so but the tithing really helped break that, man. So
So with that, and sorry to cut you off, but with
Yeah.
that, I about to say a lot of people think that tithing and offerings are like gimmicks. Like like we go to a lot of churches where it's manipulated, where it's
Yeah.
used and it's weaponized to just get from people.
Yeah.
So what do you say to somebody that sees this and like, yo, I struggle with tithing, like that's just not really something that I want to do or something I
Right.
need to do.
it's an internal thing. I'm not tithing for them. I tithe to Hunger Church, but I mean, yes, I want to get a Hunger Church, but it's not about Hunger Church.
Right.
It's about me.
Right.
Like I'm trying to break strongholds. You know
Come
what I mean?
on.
Like that's my purpose with tithing. I don't want money to have a stronghold over me or for it to be my idol. So for me, it's about me, not who I'm giving the tithe to.
That's good.
What
and
they do with the money is, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
As long
what
as
they
my
do
heart.
is up to them. But I don't even think about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's not my thought process at all. My thought process is I want that flow.
Yeah.
I want that flow. Like, Lord, I'm gonna keep giving. You just keep. I want to be like let me be that vessel. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Send it through me, Lord.
Right.
Send the money through me,
That's
please.
real.
You know
Because
what I mean?
I was always
So, like-
taught that when you give a gift to somebody,
Yeah.
what they do with the gift is not your
Yeah.
concern.
Yeah.
You gave the gift away, so
Right.
let them do with that whatever it is that they made, but make sure that your heart is in the right place, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm hearing right now. So
Yeah. It's definitely about me and my space with God versus anything else. You know
I
what I
love
mean?
that.
Yeah.
So I know that you are kind of interested, or you mentioned you were interested in like TV and film,
film,
maybe.
yeah.
What does that look like now in your new era?
Right. So content is king, as you hear all the time.
right,
In the music business, the last 4 or 5 years, I realized that, and I was early in realizing that I think 2018, like I was pressuring my artists to make content, and so I was early in that content. So I understand what content does, but I think the difference now is I realized that I was using content to break artists and sell music,
Yeah.
and the return on that wasn't that great. You know what I mean? We had one of the, well, not one, we had the most viral song of 22, I believe it was, with Hours and Hours, the most viral song in the world that year.
Wow.
And then I followed it up in 23 with Justin and Scott Collide, which was literally the #1 song in America for all of 2023
Yeah.
on TikTok. And so I understand virality and how much money you can make from that when you're using virality to sell music.
Okay.
All right, cool. So we made millions, around 8 figures, around like 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also saw a Stanley Cup.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
It's the little cup that all the girls or women, I
The
should
little
say,
thermal,
the thermal.
whatever, yeah.
Okay, they went viral.
Yep.
I know for facts they didn't have more views than us, but they were very viral.
Yes.
Do you know how much they made?
A lot.
750 million. 1 year.
wow,
So the virality with a product versus virality with music is
It's
not the
totally
same.
different.
Yes.
But we're both fighting the same battle. they didn't go viral on a different Instagram than I did.
No.
They went viral on the same Instagram,
Yeah.
same TikTok. So we're fighting. We have the same channel.
Playing field.
Yeah,
It's
we have the same playing field.
Yeah.
But when you use content to go viral for a product versus use content to go viral for music, just the payoff is different. So that brings me to my point.
Okay.
Now, I have two things I have to worry about. I have to worry about, okay, is my content, I don't want to say Christian, but inspirational? Is it feeding people the right message?
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I want to make content that's, let's call it family friendly.
Okay.
Sure.
I want to make family friendly content with good messages. But I also want to use content. I want to create my own advertising channels. Because when you have a podcast, you go and get a podcast deal where they're giving you an advance on your advertising channel. And say, hey, here's $1 million, but they're going to go out and sell 10 million worth of advertisement. You know what I mean? When you have a TV show, Netflix, I'll give you, $1 million for that TV show so I can sell $100 billion worth of subscriptions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a sales channel. So for me, it's making great content that I can use as my own sales channel. Because I'm comfortable selling other people's products, but I want to sell my products as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because selling your product, I'll make 5%. Selling my product, I'll make 95%.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
And
right.
so that's where I'm at. But I'm at the very beginning, stage 1, day 1.
Okay.
You know
But
what I
you've
mean?
been here before with content stuff.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
what made you get into like content? Like, like as far as infiltrating Instagram,
Yeah.
TikTok, and things of that nature. Like,
Well, I saw that it was the way to get an audience. You know what I mean? In the music business, before we had 106 in Park, we had radio. That was your audience.
Yeah.
You didn't
Right.
have to search for audience. It was literally already there. Somebody
Right.
had already built it. But when that went away and social media became the dominant platform or the dominant audience driver, well, how do I get audience on social media? I had to make content.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was easy. It's like, okay, well, we need an audience. Social media is where the audience is. How do we pull them in? You pull them in by making content. I got really good at making content just by doing it every day. That's how I was able to break so many songs, so many artists.
Yeah.
But I woke up and I said, okay, especially with like the Stanley Cup example, I said, wait a minute. I know they wasn't more viral than us.
somebody's doing something different.
Yeah. And so
That ain't
from
it.
seeing that was just one example. I was like, okay, I need to be using content to sell products. You know what I mean? So that was one switch. But then also the type of music that we were promoting, I didn't feel comfortable with it. You know what I mean? Especially I'm riding in the car with my little girls now.
Right.
I can't play that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't play that. And so I'm so happy now because now like they sing praise and worship music.
Aww.
You know what I mean? So I'm so happy. I caught them the other day. I tried to get on camera. But they were just sitting there drawing, talking about, I'll give you my praises, giving my praises up
Wow.
to you.
Man.
And that's just,
Yo.
that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I felt. So I'm like, so the music that we listen to and the music that I participate in, it matters.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
Feels like an honest living.
yeah,
Like-
yeah. I feel great about where we are right now, as a family, man. I thank God.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
for sure.
that. And I guess just on that same tip, I kind of want to know, who are you listening to these days?
Yes.
Since we done
So this is-
switched up.
Yeah, this was a I'll give you the progress. So
Okay.
Okay.
I stopped listening to rap music, R&B, let's call it 6 months ago.
Okay.
And I just listened to the music that I'm used to on Pandora, which is the old worship music that my parents listened to.
Oldie but goodies.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Fred Hammond,
Come
Kirk
on.
Franklin.
Yeah.
And
The
I would
classics.
Yeah, basically, I would listen to that whenever I would listen to music. But when I get in my car, it's like, bro, I can't bump this. I can't, like, turn this up on 10.
Right,
so I'm
right.
like, man. So I end up just listening to podcasts in the car. I was like, man. And so my wife kept telling me, my wife has a Tesla, and Tesla has, like, a satellite radio system in it.
Yeah.
And like a Christian hip hop channel on there.
Yeah,
And she
yeah.
kept telling me, she's like, baby, it's some good stuff in here. It's some good-"
Yes.
I'm like, ain't no good stuff in there.
I thought the same thing. I promise you, I thought Christian rap was whack.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I'm like, ain't no good stuff in there. And
That's a fact.
You always
and
said
so
that, yeah.
once I started having to take my daughters to school, once they started school, I would drive her car because they had the car seats in it.
Okay.
And so I'm listening, so I'm like, ooh, wait a minute.
This is
I'm
all
like,
right.
this is hard, this is hard. So I'm hearing songs. And I heard this one song called Stars Align by Tadashi, I think is how you say his name.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about it go so hard. I'm like, man, let me make a
Now I'm about
playlist.
to write that down.
And so I started making a playlist of all these different Christian hip hop artists, and then I started seeking it, like just started looking for it. And so I
Yeah.
made this playlist I call it King's Bop instead of Kids Bop.
Oh, okay.
Trying to market everything, man. Content is
Yeah.
on a million right now.
So I made this playlist called King's Bop.
Yeah.
So I want to start sharing it with people because it's so good, and I update it constantly. And so right now it's just me and my wife. It's our personal, but I'm gonna put it in my bio so
Okay.
other people can hear it because
Can't
literally,
gatekeep that.
yeah, literally like music on 10, like the song, the praises song. I can't remember the name of the artist, but that's one of the songs on the playlist that my kids were singing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I'm talking about that's all they know now. You know what I mean? They rap when they rapping about God. And it's like how can you beat that? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like how can you beat that? So like they love the songs. They tell me to play them over. I love like even when they get out the car, like I turn the music up even louder. I'm like it really bump, and it's like the same energy that I had when I was listening to Dirk and Rod.
Yeah.
But now it's I promise it's so crazy about it. It's so uplifting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they talking about stuff that feeds
It's
your
like,
spirit.
yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like this one kid, MTM Isaiah, I think it is. He has a song called God Is Love.
Okay.
And at first I put it on the playlist because I seen it on Instagram. I put it on the playlist, so I'm listening to this song, and I almost cried listening to the song.
Wow.
Because he's talking
The
about like how
lyrics was
God
actually-
changed his family life. Oh my goodness, it made me tear up listening to the song, and it's so good. And I'm like, this is the music people need to hear. This is what
Yeah.
change their life listening to
Yeah.
this music. And so yes, you can get it in my bio. It's called King's Bop.
Who
When
are
I-
some of the ones you listen to?
Man, I
'Cause
listen.
know
I
you-
listen to Aha, Gazelle, KB.
Heard these?
Yeah. So KB, because I was thinking about the playlist, and I was like, man, who's the best rapper and Christian rapper? And I think it's KB.
KB's top two.
I think he's
he
the one. Then after him, you got NF. You obviously got Lecrae. I think Lecrae might be the GOAT. Lecrae might be Christian hip hop
He's a
Drake.
pioneer.
Yeah, he
He's
like
the
they Drake
face.
to me. Yeah, but I think KB is like Kanye. I think he's the best. You know what I mean? I think he musically, I think KB is the best. NF. Incredible. Obviously, he sounded a lot like Eminem, but
Right.
he's incredible. And then there's a bunch of other people that are just really good. Some R&B like this kid Evan Ford. Evan Ford is crazy.
No, I heard of him.
Yeah, Aaron Cole.
Aaron
So-
Cole from
yeah,
VA.
Aaron.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's some great artists, man. I'm talking about the music be bumping.
You
every
don't even
time.
miss the old stuff no more.
Of
It's
course
like,
not.
yeah.
I don't even think about the old stuff. Like the new stuff is crazy. Like even like it got trap stuff. It got everything, man. Drill, all
Yeah.
like
Yes.
it be.
I'm about to say you
crazy.
listen to
Anthem Nights.
Brandon P.
Yeah.
Brandon P. I might
Anthem
have
Nights.
to check him out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
he does a
that.
lot of trap stuff, like you know,
Okay.
and he
Drill.
mixes like worship songs with the
Yeah.
drill music.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the
it's really
KB do
smooth.
that a lot
Refreshing.
too.
Yes, he
Yeah,
does.
KB
Yes,
do
he
that
does.
a lot. Yeah.
No, I'm about to say like my journey with music was interesting because when I first came to really understand that music was bad, I went on a fast and I let me not listen to any hip hop music for
Yeah.
like 3-4 months. And at the time, Travis Scott had just dropped an album, so I was like, I can't wait until January 1st because I'm
Yeah.
cranking this as soon as I get in the car from Watch Night service.
Yeah.
So got in the car, put the album on, and when I say I skipped every song, like nothing like stuck.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, God, if I'm gonna do this, I really need some
Yeah.
dope music. And one of the first artists that he put me on to was Jackie Hill Perry.
Okay.
And when Jackie Hill Perry, when I first heard her
Isn't
rap,
that the lady that preached?
She be
Yep.
rapping too.
Oh, I
man,
didn't know she rapped.
she
Check
rap.
her out.
Man,
Yeah.
she's a poet, so her and
Okay.
Preston are both poets, and she can rap. And she just
lyricist,
signed
for
with
real.
Lecrae, and 1-6 Click, no,
116
Reach Records
Click?
or whatever. She just
Lecrae's
signed-
Reach. He's
Yeah,
Reach.
so she
Yeah.
just signed with them. So she's doing a project with them. But
Yeah.
Jackie Hill Perry was the first person that God really put me on to. And when I say that she was, you know how she teaches. So like,
Yeah.
imagine that lyrically.
Yeah.
Like she's a freaking monster. And I was like, man, this is, because I always like lyricists.
Yeah.
So I like, this
feel
is
on the
different.
side note, I feel like the best preachers are always lyricists. Like, because
They
you gotta
go
know
with
how you
their
gotta have
words.
wordplay.
Yeah.
You gotta have
That's right.
wordplay.
That's
So like
right.
the best preachers, if they wasn't preaching, they could be rapping. I promise you, because you gotta have wordplay to be a preacher. You gotta be able to put them words together.
And make examples and
Yeah,
make stuff
exactly.
connect. That-
Storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because Jesus taught in parables. I'm about to say, so he's able to do the wordplay thing. And I always tell Christian rappers, like, because I know a lot of Christian rappers personally,
Yeah.
and they rap real. I ain't gonna drop nobody's name, but they rap kind of like weird. It's like Jeremiah 29, know the plans for my life. It's like, hey, like let's.
We know you know the scripture.
Like, that's cool, like but like, can we get a parable? Can we get like
Right.
a analogy or something?
Right.
Like so that way the bar hits. And I
Yeah.
think that was my problem with Christian rap in the beginning. Is like when I first started listening to like Flame and
Yeah.
Cross Movement and people like that, I was like, this sounds so basic. And like, no disrespect to Flame or any of them, because I was young too, so I didn't know better. I was listening to Nelly and listening to Nelly was my country grammar was it for me. Like, but when I really started like to mature and listen to the lyrics, I realized that no, these guys actually are saying something. It just may not be, my ear wasn't conditioned to it.
That'd
So,
be the battle.
Man, when you say your ear being conditioned, it reminded me of something that I've never said it publicly, and I feel like it's a good time to say it. But so my boy, because I always been a big TD Jakes fan.
Okay.
Like for years, like I would watch his, like when I met my wife, like she would just watch TD Jakes with me. You know what I mean? I love TD Jakes. You know I love TD Jakes, right? But my boy, who left music before me, he retired from music before me many years ago. Me and him were partners. We owned our record label together. He was the producer.
Oh, okay.
Platinum producer, all that. Like, he big, right? But he left before me, following God, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so one day, I want to say in 2022, if not 23, maybe 2022, he told me, I was talking about TD Jakes, and he said, you know what? He said, you watch all this TD Jakes, but you haven't changed yet. Woo. He's like, maybe TD Jakes not the pastor for you. And that hurt my spirit so bad.
Wow.
Because I have been watching TD Jakes for years, and he knew. He's like, you ain't changed. So he's like, if you watch all the TD Jakes and you haven't changed yet, maybe he not the pastor for you. And that hurt me so bad.
But that is so real.
Yeah, and I was like, man. And so like you said, conditioning your ear. I was like, well, I know it ain't TD Jakes, because it got to be me. And that really opened up for me to finally be able to listen to change. You know what I mean? That was a moment for me. And I feel like if it wasn't for that moment, then when I went to ILS, the change wouldn't have happened. Right. You know what I mean? But that moment really opened my eyes, like, dag, like, I'm not really listening.
Just getting those sound bites that sound good.
TJ was like a rapper to me.
Yeah, TJ got fire wordplay.
I liked his wordplay, but I wasn't really listening.
Right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so once he told me that, it hurt me. And I was like, you know what? He right. You know what I mean?
Because if you're not careful, you'll end up going to pastors for the entertainment or the comfort.
I was entertained by him.
Yeah.
Right. I'm about to say, and again, if I'm not looking for change, I don't want a pastor that's going to entertain me. I want a pastor that's going to change me.
Yeah.
So, like, so as you condition your ear, like, there's this guy that named Philip Mitchell. I'm about to say, like, I love Philip Mitchell. And that he's like, like, he talks that stuff where he makes you, like, really examine your heart. And then there are other preachers that just make me feel good. Right. And I gotta realize that, hey, maybe this guy isn't the person that I should be listening to, because, like you said, I don't change my actions. I just feel good in the moment. And that's a tough reality to hear.
Yeah, it was tough to hear. I'm sorry, it really hurt me.
Yes, it really hurt.
So I was scrolling on your Instagram, man, and I know that, like, you have sickle cell. Yeah. About to say, and there was one particular post where you got pneumonia and sickle cell.
Yeah.
And you were in the post, you were recording your audio book in the hospital. Yeah. Can you talk about that? Because I think there's a lot of people out here who, when they experience the slightest bit of inconvenience, they stop doing everything. And you were somebody that I looked at and I was like, man, he's pushing through.
No excuses.
Like, at all. So, like,
So I'll be honest. When I knew I had to go to the hospital, my first call was my content guy. I said, DeMar, bring the mics. I'm going to the hospital. So as soon as I already knew this was gonna be gold content.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
so literally, I said, I know they're gonna keep me because I knew how sick I was, and I said, yo, bring the mics. Meet me at the hospital. So he met me at the hospital, and so for me, it was an opportunity. But at the same time, it was real. I did have to get the book done. Right. And so in the book, you literally, I got so much footage of it. You literally can hear it in my breath. Like, I can't breathe. Wow. I could barely talk to my wife. Like, literally, I couldn't put together sentence to talk to her, but I had to muster up the energy to say this audiobook. Sheesh. Because what I found out prior to that was Amazon, the Audible platform, it's almost like a 30-day wait to get your book on. And so if you don't turn it in time, it won't come out with I needed it to come out with the physical book. Right. You know what I mean? I didn't want the audio book to come out later. You know what I mean? Which it still ended up coming out maybe like a week or so later. Okay. But because Audible just has a longer process. Oh. And so that's why I had to push through and do it. So I not only recorded in the hospital, I also recorded after I got out of the hospital. a few times just to like finish it up and do punch-ins. It was very hard, man. Like honestly, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't talk. I don't know if y'all ever had pneumonia, but I hear it all the time, and they say like pneumonia can kill you, and now I know why. You know what I mean?
You felt like you was about to die,
and now I know why. And then to add the crisis on top of that, I will say because I changed my diet so long ago, and like I'm my body is very healthy. My crisis doesn't feel like the normal crisis. Like before I changed my diet, crisis was crippling pain. Like the last crisis I had before I changed my diet, my boys K Camp and his security, they had to literally carry me in the hospital. And you know how embarrassing that is. Like when your homies gotta pick you up as a grown man.
Pick you a grown man, your legs not touching the ground,
and carry you into like because I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. I was crippled from the pain. And so, but after I changed my diet, and that's also in that instance, I didn't know I was having a crisis because the pain was so minimal. I had never felt I had never been through a crisis that had minimal pain. And so the pain was so minimal, they told me I was in a crisis. I didn't know I was in a crisis. But a crisis can be deadly because it causes those clots. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. Point being, it was a very bad situation, and I did push through and record because I wanted the audiobook to come out with the regular book. It came out on my birthday. So it was a very important moment to me as far as the book coming out. But the moment that you saw on Instagram, that recording, that was very purposeful. Like as soon as I knew I was going to the hospital, I said, "Oh, this is gonna be gold."
Wow.
I said, "Hey man, bring this stuff up to the hospital."
and like it's like you saw and you said like like this was going to be an opportunity. How many people do we know that don't see their inflictions as opportunities? And this is why I love when the Bible says like when Paul asked several times for God to remove the thorn, he said, "No, my grace is sufficient." So like I think what you were operating in that moment was God's grace, and this was the thing that God wanted to use, because if he would have took that away from you, it takes away the opportunity.
I ain't gonna lie, I always thought that God gave me sickle cell because if I didn't have it, I would never be humble. Like I really always believed
that is your thorn.
I was like, if I didn't have sickle cell, there's no way I'd be humble because I'm too good at everything else. Like there's no way. Like sickle cell is the thing that keeps me grounded and humble. Now it's my family and my wife. My wife will humble me in a second. You know what I mean? And so now it's them. But prior to having a family, like I always was like, God, this is the only thing keeping me sane. Because otherwise I would be Kanye crazy. Otherwise, because I'm like, you just gave me too many gifts, God. But true. that sickle cell always kept me from being like, I understand my limitations.
So like you would tell people, embrace your thorns. Like embrace the thing that holds you down.
I'll probably be in the NBA or NFL. I ain't gonna lie, if one for sickle cell.
I better be glad.
I probably would, And so it's like, you must have wanted me to be in business. You wanted to keep me out the league, so you made sure.
You know they put a leash on you. I'm about to say, so with that, man, I'm about to say, I think that you are obviously like to us anyway, from what we can see, like beyond successful. I'm about to say, what is one of the best things that you learned in the industry that you can take with you now, like as far as
music industry?
Yes, sir.
That's one of my struggles right now. Is like I don't want to look back on it too brightly because I know I wasn't doing God's will, or at least I know I wasn't doing something that made him happy or proud.
That was one. I wanted that to be my question. Like you hear a lot of people talking about the music industry is demonic. It's satanic. Like, do you think
I didn't
you
have
can
any
be
of those experiences? Like, I didn't have any like super. I had negatives. I won't say I did have negative experiences.
Right.
But I think in the sense of now that I listen to this positive music versus the music I was listening to before, it's like such a big difference. And so now I can see why it feels like the worldly things. So I can see why. I would agree. I would agree it's demonic because I can see how the music, the stuff you're listening to and the words, like
it's pushing a certain agenda.
Because now I'm listening to this I would call angelic music. And I'm like, man, the way it make me feel, the way it make me proud to be a father, the way. Like, I never felt that way with this. And so now I do feel like this is keeping you in a stronghold. You know what I mean? So now looking back on it in this moment, I do kind of feel like that. But business-wise and being in that industry, I never did nothing. No, I never did anything malice to anybody. Like, I never. So I didn't feel like it was evil while I was in it or even, even when I look back on the bad that was done to me, like, I kind of have a good understanding now that somebody used the best reference, and I always use it now. It's like they said, if somebody hits you with a baseball bat, are you gonna be mad at the bat or are you gonna be mad at the person? And so to me, people are just weapons that the enemy is using. So I'm not gonna be mad at the person.
Right.
I gotta think about the spiritual.
We don't fight
You know what I
against
mean?
flesh and blood.
And we don't fight. And so now, even when I look at like the people who kind of did me wrong, it's like, okay, you know, that's the lesson that God's trying to show me something. You know what I mean? It's a spiritual battle. So I'm not mad at you, my brother, my sister. Like, you know, you were caught up in that moment. You know, you were being used. Cool, it is what it is. But yeah, I never felt evil in the industry or like people was out to like, I didn't feel that way. But again, looking back on it, I don't want to glorify it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Because that's when you said your friend who got out because he was being led by God, then you start being led by God and he pulled you out. So it's like, I wonder if you're able to stay in that entertainment industry while still, you know, which I feel like we're supposed to be the light in darkness. I feel like we're supposed to carry the truth, and we should be able to infiltrate, what do they call them, the seven mountains
The seven mountains of influence.
Yeah.
So I don't know, what you think?
My thought process, I can only speak from my experience.
Yeah.
And having a relationship with God and seeking Him, when the seeking Him part, that comes with reading the Bible. That's the number one way to seek Him. And I just don't believe you can read the Bible and not be convicted. You know what I mean? I think it's impossible.
That's the one book that's gonna read you back.
Yeah, so I feel like if you were really seeking Him, I don't think there's a way you could continue. You know what I mean? So just being honest, like so if a person is telling me they're a Christian and they're in that industry, you might be a Christian, but you're not really
like
seeking
lukewarm.
them. Yeah, because there's no way you're reading that Bible and not completely convicted about what's happening.
So
You know what I mean?
So I got a question. I'm about to say, so like, you know, when we see people in the Bible, like, you know, like a Joseph or Daniel, and they serve at the leisure of a secular business or a secular industry or whatever the case is, like, you know, they're able to navigate that and also still be a change agent. I'm about to say, so what would you say, like, you know, to that?
Well, I think you got to define secular business, because I mean
Everything
is secular.
Yeah,
Right.
You got to define secular business. My thing is, like, I just want to do what's pleasing to God.
Fair
you know
enough.
what I mean? And I didn't feel like I was pleasing Him in any way by doing that. And so I think you got to define secular. Like, if you go to work at Verizon, like, are you know, like,
we don't know who owns Verizon and what their religious beliefs are.
It's a job, but me, I was in a position of power. I wasn't working for the record label. I was the record label. And so I guess it would be a little different if this is just your job. Like, you know what I mean? But for me, I was the job. Like, I was the label. And so I had the power of what we put out into the world.
Yeah.
And so for me, I had to walk away. But if it's your normal job, I don't know. You know, I'm not here to judge you.
Right.
I can only tell you, for me, the conviction was too strong for me to continue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I do believe if you are reading that book, you'll have conviction over what's wrong and right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm not judging you, brother or sister.
But get it together.
I just find it hard to believe that if you're really in it, you know, that's the route you would go.
Yeah.
Because you'll be provided for.
Yeah.
You can't tell me, oh, I'm here because I need to make. No, you don't. You know what I mean?
But that's a lie of the enemy.
Yeah. So,
and some people just feel like that's the only talent that they have, like, you know, and they only know how to channel it through.
Well, see, that's the beauty of gifts and talents. They can be used in many ways.
Yeah.
Like, I knew the gifts that I had wasn't only able to be used in music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was very obvious to me. So I literally had no issues walking away from music because I knew my gifts
Just
and my
pivoting
talent.
to
Yeah. So your gifts can always be used in other places, in other ways.
I'm excited to see what you do with film and stuff.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be like more on, like, do you want to do producing, or is it directing?
So, because I understand the internet and social media, I'm already producing my own content.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I'm already like in the music business, I always champion independence and ownership and things of that nature. So it's the same for me with content. Like, I don't have to wait for somebody to give me some sort of deal, or, you know what I mean? I don't have to wait for Netflix to be like, oh, we want to buy it. Like, no, I'm just making it and I'm gonna put it out.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so for me, I'm already making content. We put out our first show 2 months ago. I don't know the exact date. 2 months ago. We have another show launching October. I'm shooting. Well, I don't want to call it my third show because I might end up coming out with something before then.
Okay.
But I'm shooting right now. Will be slated as my third show. I'm shooting it in the summertime, and I do already have people that want to buy that show.
Okay.
But I want to shoot it first. I want to do it myself, so I don't got to follow nobody rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we shooting that this summer. So I have 3 shows that are already pretty much in the work. One already out doing very successful.
Yeah.
The second one's coming out. I'm so happy about it, and I think I'm gonna get some Grammys from this too. From the
Woo.
second show. The second show has
Dope.
music in it, and I'm pretty positive. I'm looking for Grammys and Emmys.
Okay.
So if anybody's on a Grammy committee, Emmy committee,
Yeah.
get ready.
That's exciting, especially because I know you have this new mindset. So
Yeah.
I feel like what you're gonna produce is going to be, positive and
Yeah, well, it's always gonna be as positive as it can be for sure, and try to have messages in it, of course.
Yeah.
But I do understand that you have to reach people.
and tell a story.
You know what I mean?
and-
Yeah, you have to
sure.
reach people, and so I don't have any great examples, but I feel like you can't. Well, no, I won't say you can't. I feel like it'll be a better space to just be family friendly with a positive message. Like I would love to make a show like my favorite show about Jesus. What is it? The Chosen.
The Chosen.
The Chosen.
The Chosen.
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
I would love to make that as well, but I want to tell like the story of my father's childhood. You know what I mean? And I actually want to act in that. I want to play my grandfather in that. I want to tell that story.
So wait. So you I'm about to say
Right.
music mogul. I'm about to say podcast creator. I'm about to say what don't you do, sir?
well, yeah. So I went to school for drama. I went to Cleveland School of Arts. Yeah. For drama. And I consider myself very good, but I
Yeah.
haven't acted really since then.
Okay.
Besides putting out my own content, which isn't acting.
Yeah.
But I do want to act in that. I want to play my grandfather. And reason I bring that show up is my grandfather cursed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And my grandfather, like he did a lot of things, and in the end he definitely turned his life around, and you know what I mean. But I wanted to be a real portrayal. Now it's not gonna be crazy like over the top, but the
Right.
purpose of it is to get you to the point where you are bringing your life to Christ.
Yeah.
And you are telling a story. And
Yeah,
every
so
ain't
the
pretty.
story will be told properly, but it will lead you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Right.
So we may start where he started, but we're gonna end where he ended.
And this is I like that because
Yeah.
when I watch film, I'm a
I was
I'm a
about to say,
movie buff.
he has ideas too. He
I-
likes
Yeah.
film and stuff.
And with the movies that I want to create, some of them may be on the
Violent.
rated
Yeah.
R side because
Yeah.
I'm basing it based upon how the Bible worked.
Yeah.
There was a lot
I mean, the
of
Bible
blood
is rated
and-
R.
Right.
What's after rated R? NR-17?
I'm about to say, yeah. It made for mature for sure.
Yeah,
I'm about to say
yeah.
like the Bible is graphic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the movies I was gonna make was gonna be based off a story in Judges. And if anybody ever read Judges, it's
Yes.
a bloody book.
Yeah.
But when we look at movies like that, it's not rated R because the content is raunchy. It's just this is the reality of it. So like,
Yeah.
how do we as Christians, in your opinion, like steward telling the whole truth about like in an acting thing without crossing the line? Because
Is there such thing?
Passion of Christ is rated R.
Well, when you say crossing the line,
That's
what
what I'm
line are we
saying.
crossing?
If you're telling the story,
I agree with you, but the Passion of Christ is rated R. Like
Yeah.
kids couldn't see
is
the
it just
Passion
because
of
it was
Christ.
bloody?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any profanity in the Passion of Christ from what I remember.
I can't tell you that I got the answer to that. what I can tell you is, I do understand how to reach people, and I know that it'll be a different audience if I don't reach across the aisle, like Jews versus Gentiles, right? Like if I'm not speaking to the Gentiles, I don't really feel like I did my job, and I don't feel like I told the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like this is a fantasy now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I want to tell the truth. And like I said, we may start here, but we're going to end in the right place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything is going to have the message that leads you to where you need to be led to.
I like that.
And so
'Cause
that
people say like a lot of the Christian movies are corny too.
yeah.
Where it's just like we get it, but
Yeah, I mean that's why I really do appreciate The Chosen, because it's such an honest
Yeah.
show. I feel like it is very truthful, and it does reach people, and so I love it, and I would like I want to make stuff like that too. But I also I know my upbringing, and it's like without my upbringing would I be here, and so I need to reach out to people who brought up like me.
Yeah.
To get them to where I'm at.
That's
You know what I mean?
what's up.
So that's just how I feel about it.
That's
And I mean, the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 9, it's like, like to the Jews I became Jews. Like, this is like, it's like, so I think that when you are making film content for a particular audience, you do have to become that thing, so that way you can reach them. I about to say, and I think that there are certain Christian movies that are I think there are a lot of corny Christian movies. I about to say, like, but they're reaching the audience in which they're called to reach. I about to say, and I think for the audience in which I'm called to reach, it may be a little more on the graphic urban side, like, not because, like, our people are prone to these things, but this is like, what I grew up in the hood. So, like, it's like, this is what we grew up in. This is the upbringing that we had. This is what we can relate to. And I think to see that transition character-wise from going from one place to a better place, I think sometimes it's necessary to get down and dirty with your character. I think Denzel Washington, he said all his films are, like, he has a Christian undertone to all the films that he does. And for Training Day, he wrote on the top of the script that the wages of sin is death. Yeah. So his character, he said that he wanted his character to die a brutal death because he didn't want the character to seem as if they got away with something by living a lifestyle that was super sinful.
How did he die? I forget.
He got shot up.
Oh, okay.
Shootout.
The Russians came.
Oh yeah, they got him.
Lit him up.
Yeah, at the end. Yeah.
Man, I about to say, so with that, like, I think the original way he was supposed to die was just like, like maybe like just one little bullet or something like that, or he was supposed to go to jail or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think he was supposed to die at all. He was like,
I think that's important, man. But yeah, we're gonna definitely be giving out messages and stuff. But our stuff is already out there. Yeah. And we'll see what the future holds.
Well, I know we're gonna be coming to an end here soon, but while we have you, we always like to ask our guests, what is something that people need to hear? What do the people need to hear? Any advice, any words of wisdom, any warnings, just whatever.
I mean, I think you need to know that it's just that God got you. You know what I mean? That Jesus has you. So I think the best feeling that I have in this moment is a feeling of freedom. Ooh. You know what I mean? And so I would love for everybody to experience this freedom, because I'm not scared about losing anything. I'm not scared about losing my life. Like, I've learned that, our human body may die, but we are spirits. So even if I pass away, my spirit won't pass away. So that freed me from the fear of death. I'm not scared of death. Real. I'm not scared of losing money. There's just nothing that I fear, and that's a real freedom, because now I can just operate in a space of love. Right. You know what I mean? And so I feel like everybody needs to understand that the things that you're scared of, the things that you're worried about day to day, those can be given to God so that you can operate in love. Yeah. You know what I mean? I know everybody has a heart. God, you're born with it. So you're born to operate in love, but you're so afraid of all the day-to-day things and the day-to-day struggles, and the imagery that you have, or the image that you uphold of yourself, or your identity is in this. Yeah. All of that can be taken away from you if you just give it to God. So give your life to God, give your life to Jesus Christ, and you will be free of all of those worries and concerns. So then you can operate in love. You can love everybody as you love yourself.
That's so real, and that's so good. That'll free you up to really obey God, because it's like, Lord, whatever you say, I'm gonna do. You ain't worried about how anybody's treating you, because you just gonna operate how you operate. That's beautiful.
No, I ain't got nothing to say.
Okay.
Like, my prayer is that the people that watch this, man, they can see both sides of the coin. Like, they see the success in the world, but then they see the freedom in Christ. And that's what I'm hoping that people can say, that the freedom in Christ is worth more than the success in the world. Like, and that's man, that freed me. So
I know it. Well, thank you, JR.
Thank y'all for having me.
This is so cool.
No, we appreciate you, man. So y'all, here's the thing. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm about to say until next time.
See ya.
Yeah, peace out.